So this is my vlog for the last interaction that I had with my partner, and this interaction honestly went really well just because we are getting so comfortable with one another. So I learned a lot about not just myself and my culture and the role it plays in my learning, but also I think she actually is learning a lot about herself as well. So we talked about the huge culture gap in the schooling here. Most of the I have encountered with, and most of her professors she has encountered with, have been white, European American. And yes, although MSU is so big and a lot of people identify as that, just as many people who identify as that, there is another half who don't identify as that. So that's where I kind of explained to her where the culture gap is and what that really means. From that conversation, we then branched off in expressing what it's like to be a minority in an educational classroom and how that has positively and sometimes even negatively hindered our learning inside and out of the classroom. I also explained to her what culturally relevant teaching is, and from there, more so from her perspective, we discussed how much easier college would be if more professors made um, not just us, but like looked at all the other students that are in their class and kind of just looked at their overall cultural knowledge. And also, if professors would sometimes cater more to the strengths and weaknesses of their students and make teaching more broad. And I explained to her why that's so important, just because not every student learns the same, and it's not easy for every student. Another thing that we talked about was how she overcame the language barrier when she first got here. She explained to me another story. It was a separate story than what she had told me last time. And I showed her a short video on YouTube about these kids who had learned helplessness. And I showed her that because I believe that she learned helplessness because there was a point in her story where she no longer tried to understand what her teachers were saying. She didn't want to ask questions. She kind of just sat in the back of the classroom and just basically learned helplessness, didn't want to learn anymore or interact with any of the kids, let alone the teacher. I also talked about a terrible accident I had in the 6th grade with a teacher who really, I was struggling in the class, and she really kind of overlooked that and made me feel stupid. And I really just explained that to her to let her know that she's not alone. Just because I was born here, it might make it a little bit easier, but I still have had my struggles as well. And also, she gave me an example um, how on holidays she doesn't celebrate American holidays. So when we come back from things like Christmas break and the teachers are asking, oh, how was your guys' break? What you guys do over Christmas? They don't realize that not everyone celebrates Christmas, and that's just sometimes kind of awkward for her because she has nothing to add into the discussion, and she feels like when there's classroom discussions, that's really where you make your friends and things like that. So that can be kind of awkward for her. Overall, we just talked about how our culture, race, ethnicity, and just our overall backgrounds have played a part in our lives inside the classroom and outside of the classroom. And we also talked about when we struggle in school, what motivates us and what do our professors do to help us personally the best that they can. Oh, and I also explained to her the difference between performance and learning goals. And I explained that when it comes to school, I have really strong learning goals. And I gave her the definitions of both of those. And based off those definitions, she did say that more so she has performance goals here. And when she's in her homeland, northern China, she has more learning goals. And she has more performance goals here just because her confidence here in school is kind of low, so she most always chooses the easy task just so she doesn't get judged more than she feels like she already does. So overall, I learned that when it comes to myself and my own culture, I am not the only one out there who faces constant struggles, that there are others out there who although they are culturally different than me, they still experience some obstacles. And the insights I had about my culture and my partner's cultural education, is that whether I'm here in America or she's there in northern China, it's so easy to lose motivation when something is hard and you feel like a teacher is not understanding and is not trying their best to explain something to you just because it comes easy to majority of the class. So I really did learn a lot about not just her, but just about myself and how our experiences are similar and different.